Spring is in the air, and that means spring football is
Hello, fine people, and welcome to Sports Mag. I'm Derek Kessinger.
And I'm Michael Schwartz. Basketball season may be over, but there is no shortage of sports news on the CU campus.
If you paid attention to the football team at all last year, then you are aware that they had a little bit of a quarterback problem. Well, it just got even more complicated. Jordan Webb, the original starting quarterback for the 1-11 Buffaloes from the fall, will not have a chance to redeem himself this season. It was announced this week that Webb tore his ACL in his left knee, ending his chance at competing for a quarterback spot. Webb transferred from Kansas and led the Buffs to their only victory against Washington State in Pullman last September, running the winning touchdown into the end zone in that game. Webb will try to take advantage of an NCAA rule that would grant him a 6th year of eligibility. In other news, the football team has a new pocket-sized wide receiver. Junior Dede Goodson is officially moving from tailback to wide receiver for the upcoming season. Goodson spent 2 seasons playing multiple positions for the Buffs, most notably running back last year. The 5'7" tailback only received 5 touches last year, but hopes to receive more opportunities at his new position. Goodson is off to a solid start with 9 catches for 128 yards and a trio of touchdowns in 3 spring games. Even Coach Mack is happy about his performance.
Well, his quickness, ability to run after catch, and I've been pleased with the way he's caught the ball coming from running back. He even had a dislocated finger that he put back in place from Thursday's practice.
Goodson, along with his teammates, continued to tune up for the season with their 3rd spring scrimmage Friday. This was their last scrimmage before the Saturday's spring game. Coach Mack started to implement his pass-happy offense, totaling 58 passes for 517 yards. Both Connor Wood and Nick Hirschman got the majority of reps at quarterback, compiling 7 touchdowns together. Fellow quarterback Shane Dillon did not live up to expectations with a measly 77 yards and 50% completion percentage. Richardson, Goodson, Thomas, McCullough, and Canty all had scoring receptions and notched 75 yards apiece. Coach Mack said after the scrimmage that the offense is great, but the defense still needs some attention.
I would mark it as terrible. But before that, I thought they'd been competing and doing well. You know, we had some different secondary guys go down, and then you're putting different kids out there, and we got corners playing safety, and safety playing corner, and safety playing nickel. So that's hard on them too.
Colorado football has some major spring cleaning on their hands as first-year coach Mike McIntyre attempts to spruce up the Buffs. In anticipation of Saturday's spring game, Sports Mag's Alexis Perry hit the pavement to gauge students' enthusiasm on this week's Man on the Street.
Saturday marks the 3rd spring football game in 3 seasons under a new head coach. While the football team seems confident, Buff fans are a little more skeptical. I took to the streets to see how Colorado students feel about Coach Mack's upcoming first season.
Yeah, I am going to the spring game. I'm really excited to see how the football team is getting together this spring and how they're practicing, and if we are going to be any better than we were last year.
I'm not going because I don't have time, but I'll probably watch it on TV.
I'm going to the spring game because I think it'll be a lot of fun to see what our new coach is doing with the team.
I mean, I'd like to see us win more than 1 game.
I'd really like to see more effort as a team, and I'd really like to see them play as a team because that would be great.
Conference wins would be nice. I don't know, we were what, 1-11 last year?
Honestly, just the quarterback position. I mean, I think changing them out so many times like that, it just led to complete confusion on the field, and no one really knew what was going on.
Offense, the complete inability to move the ball downfield at all.
Connor Wood. I think he's the most polished, most poised, and he's got a great arm, and he's smart. He makes good decisions on the field.
Oh.
Just like to see someone who can throw a ball. If they can't throw a ball down the field, can make a play and run it themselves.
Connor Wood looks good, but I think before I'd like to pick someone, I'd like to see the new 4-star guy out of Washington. I can't remember his name right now.
just someone who's willing to take the initiative to like step up and be a leader for the team.
I think it will. I went to the spring scrimmage. Paul Richardson looked really good. He was fast, running great routes, and I think that'll make a huge difference.
In order for our wide receiver to be good, we actually have to be able to get the ball to him.
I think so. Whenever that was 2 years ago, he had a few big games and it was obviously a much better season as well.
Take control and, choose his own fate, his own destiny.
Give him hell.
Hi, boss.
It's that time of year again, time for the University of Colorado Athletics Garage Sale. The sale started Friday at Bach Fieldhouse and runs until the conclusion of the spring game. Fans will be able to purchase everything from unused athletic equipment to game-worn jerseys and gold helmets. This is the fourth time the department has held the sale alongside the annual spring football game. Be sure to get there early. There's only a limited number of jerseys and helmets.
A phrase popular with CU students will have extra meaning over the Labor Day holiday as Sunday Funday will hold the rivalry game. It was announced that the Rocky Mountain Showdown between the Buffs and the Colorado State Rams will take place on Sunday, September 1st. The game was originally scheduled for Saturday, but was moved in hopes that a national broadcast will pick up the contest. This year's battle will take place in Denver, where it has been played the past 3 years. In last year's competition, CSU beat CU 22-17 for their first win in the Rocky Mountain Showdown since 2009.
With Sunday Funday in full effect for the Rocky Mountain Showdown, we started thinking about the last time CU had an accomplishment in this series. Our trivia question for this week is, when was the last time a player ran for over 150 yards in the CSU-CU game? Google that answer, and we'll have the answer ourselves later in the show.
Coming up next, this guy will shoot some hoops on this week's Sound Off.
And check out the all-women cheer team as they prepared for the NCAA Nationals this season. Stay tuned.
We won 24 NCAA championships, sent 18 NASA astronauts into space, inspired 4 Nobel laureates, unlocked the genetic secrets of cancer in a place that averages over 300 days of sunshine a year, ranks as America's smartest and healthiest city, and is home to the mightiest mascot in college sports. If you didn't know what the University of Colorado is all about, now you do.
This house was almost saved from a fire that was almost put out by neighbors who almost volunteered. As generous a nation as we are, sometimes instead of giving, we almost give. But almost giving is the same as not giving at all.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad
One more
today.
time. Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
Colorado has been able to survive the coaching carousel in college basketball, but athletic director Mike Bohn understands that the program needs more leverage. Bohn announced last week that he will look to extend both men's coach Tad Boyle and women's coach Linda Lappy. Boyle became the first coach in school history to win 20 games in 3 consecutive seasons. Meanwhile, Lappy led her team to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2004. Bohn hopes to extend the pair through the 2017-2018 season.
Every year, the CU men's basketball team hosts a banquet where they celebrate the past season. The banquet was held this week at the George Bodecker Jr. practice facility. The Buffs finished the season at 21-12 and 10-8 in Pac-12 play. Spencer Dinwiddie was awarded the Chauncey Billups MVP award. Xavier Johnson received the Most Improved award, and Sabatino Chen won the Most Inspirational award. Dinwiddie also won the Jay Humphries Assist Award, while Andre Robertson won the Stephen Pell Rebounding Award and the Best Defensive Player Award.
The pride of the school continues to be the Colorado Buffaloes basketball team after another successful season. However, those around the program are putting lofty expectations on the Buffs next year. Is this all just a lot of noise? Let's discuss on this week's Sound Off. Even with with Mike Bohn's promise that Tad Boyle will be extended, there is still some question about what that will mean. Right now, the coach made just under $1 million, but what if someone like Texas comes in, who might be looking for a new coach in a couple years, and offers $5 million? This still remains the biggest gray area around the Buffaloes basketball team, and the school is going to have to actually commit to a coach or else fall off after the end of this season. Boyle had a press conference yesterday and talked about the decision for Andre Robertson as well. And he really talked about the junior forward getting some misinformation from people around the source. Now, most projections are projecting that Robertson will be somewhere in the middle of the second round, not a lofty way to get a contract, so he might be better to come back for another year, but it'll be interesting to see what the forward does. Some things that the Buffs will have to look at next year is replacing Sabatino Chen, and that will really fall on the shoulders of Xavier Talton and Eli Stalzer. Will these two guards be able to pick up the slack? It looks like Stalzer may be able to shoot his way out of a lot of situations, but what will Talton's contribution be? It'll be something to look for, especially in the fall, as those two compete for playing time. And what about Askia Booker? He's dominant at times, and sometimes he can't score. The second half of the season was really tough, except for that game against Illinois. Will he be able to turn that around? Personally, I think he needs to start coming off of the bench again. He played well in that role. When you give him too much control, he makes rash decisions, and that has ended up costing the Buffs, as we saw in the middle of the second half there in that Illinois game. And what about the Buffs? They are 20 to 1 odds in Vegas right now. It'll be interesting to see how that changes, but those lofty expectations with Spencer Dinwiddie emerging and the return of Andre Robertson, will that lead them to the Final Four? It'll be interesting to see coming up, but the big thing for the Buffs right now is keeping both of those players. They have to declare for the draft by the end of April.
Speaking of Buffs going pro, Amy Barzuk of the women's soccer team was drafted last week to the National Women's Soccer League. Barzuk was taken in the second round by the Western New York Flash. This is the inaugural season for the new soccer league. Barzuk will be in good company with the Flash, as Abby Wambach and Carly Lloyd of the U.S. national team are set to be her teammates. As the captain of the women's team at CU, Barzuk scored 23 points in her 4-year tenure. Amy is the second Buff to ever be drafted out of college, with the first being Nikki Marshall in 2010. Although Amy Barzuk has moved on from the CU women's soccer program, they aren't waiting around. The team had 2 spring games this past weekend on the fields of Regis University in Denver. In the morning, they played the School of Mines and won convincingly with a score of 4-0. Later on in the day, the women played the Air Force Falcons and won 2-0. The women will continue their spring season this weekend in Grand Junction with games against Fort Lewis, Colorado Mesa, and Southern Utah.
After the break, Scott Oberto and Andrew Hobner take to the double team set to break down all that is CU athletics.
And the women's all-cheer team practiced hard for the NCAA Nationals this year. See how the effort unfolded after the break. Don't go anywhere.
CU students who join the Peace Corps are usually very adventurous people, very outdoorsy. They usually are very caring, very passionate people.
For the second year in a row, CU Boulder has outproduced all other universities in the nation, both big and small, in the number of alumni who are serving as Peace Corps volunteers. That's a very, very important thing for us.
The Peace Corps continues to be the gold standard for international volunteer service. It's Americans making a difference around the world, and many of those Americans have come from this great university.
I'm not sure if it's a beautiful setting or the mountains or the weather, But one thing's for sure, there's a special civic pride on this campus.
The great spirit of volunteerism here on campus and internationalism that you find here really just kind of brings Peace Corps out a little more than it does on other campuses, I think.
You should be very proud to come from a campus that inspires so much public service and collectively works to build a better world.
About to run into trouble again.
Hey, Bobo, where's your video game? In here. Well, look at this. Uh-oh, it's my dad's. You want to hold it? What'll I do?
If you get my new comic activity book, More Adventures with Scruff, you'll find out what you can do about bullies and guns. And you'll see lots of games.
Cool.
For your free copy of my new comic activity book, just write Scruff McGruff, Chicago, Illinois, 60652, and help take a bite out of crime.
I want it, I want it. You know trouble can start when the clock hits 3. When there's no place after school for kids to be. Nothing to do but hanging on city streets. When mom and dad are working to make ends meet. Now it's time to beat the street.
With after-school programs, city kids aren't left alone and vulnerable. They keep on learning between 3 and 6, but these programs need your support. Join with the Urban League to keep them going. Call now, because it's
time to beat the street.
The spring section of sports is slower for CU athletics, which gives those of us at CU Sports Mag time to reflect on the state of the program.
Let's go to Sports Mag's Andrew Hobner and Scott Oberto at the Double Team set to check in on the state of CU sports.
Thanks, guys. Welcome to CU Double Team. I'm Scott Oberto. This next to me is Andrew Hobner. We're going to talk all things CU sports and how they did this 2012-2013 season, starting off with the fall sports, talking a little football.
Well, you know, Scott, one win season isn't going to draw any fans, not going to draw any recruits. After a really long, tumultuous season, John Embry was fired. We brought in Coach McIntyre from San Jose State. And the program really looks like it's starting to get turned around. You know, we have a decent recruiting class this year, headed by quarterback Sefo Lufau. We have upwards of $100 million, I believe, in facilities that are going to be brought to the campus. So, you know, the program is really starting to turn itself around. And, you know, while the football team wasn't fantastic, we had a lot of other good fall teams that really performed this year.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like cross country, they won the Pac-12 championship, fell a little bit short in the Nationals, but overall, we're really proud of those guys over there for what they did. In volleyball, had a major improvement. We're even sending a couple juniors and seniors over to the U.S. Olympic team. Hopefully we can see them compete nationally against other countries. And that kind of brings us into our winter sports. Obviously, fantastic season, both men's and women's basketball. We're kind of waiting to see what our future is going to be with Robertson, but overall, pretty great year.
Absolutely. A third 20-win season for Tad Boyle and the Buffs. You know, fell short in the NCAA tournament. That big loss to Illinois really hurts. But we have 3 very solid recruits coming in for this year. And alongside women's basketball, who also did fantastic this winter, you know, our winter sports are really starting to kick up.
Yeah, definitely. They beat that Team Louisville that made it all the way to the finals. Unfortunately, they did lose. But so there's obviously much improvement in both of our women's and men's basketball team. You know, Chucky Jeffrey, one of the best women we've ever had come through the program. It's going to be sad to see her leave, but I believe our coach and our program can really group together, and I think we're going to have another fantastic year next season, which again, and this kind of brings us into our new spring sports that are just starting up here. What do you think? How do you think we're doing so far in the spring?
Well, you know, track and field has always been very strong. We have 2 Olympians in Chalet Kipp and Emma Coburn, 2 fantastic runners. It's going to be a shame to see them go after this spring. But we have other great field athletes. Emily Hunsucker won Pac-12 Athlete of the Week honors, broke the CU school record. You know, tons of Olympians, just a great overall team. And that also is going to start leading us into our brand new sport this spring, women's lacrosse. Getting excited for that, huh, Scott?
Oh, but definitely. You know, it's kind of new to the Pac-12. I think this program in general is just great for the school. We're building even new facilities for that. Our new coach that's coming in, she's really got a great great vision. Yeah, she's got a great vision for the sport, and she's definitely a winner. And I think that this can really help out our school and our program recruit just sports in general and get the more Pac-12 name out there. And as far as that goes, kind of what are you looking forward to the rest of the season?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to see you kind of continuing this ascension to sport dominance. This is a great academic school, great athletic school, but we're just kind of one step short of it.
Definitely. I think we got bigger and better things ahead of us. That's all the time we have for you today. Again, I'm Scott Roberto. That's Andrew Hobner. Back to you guys at the desk.
Much like the 90s boy band, cheerleaders have to focus a lot on being in sync. As the all-women squad set out to compete at nationals, cheer enthusiasts may be interested to know just what it takes to compete in this sport at a high level. SportsMag's Sean Espinoza went behind the scenes to capture the work that translates into pure enthusiasm.
As most collegiate sports are coming to the end of their season at this point in the year, the CU Buffs all-girl cheerleading team will be heading to sunny Daytona to compete at the National Cheerleading Association's College Nationals for the second time as a team in the all-girl division.
All-girl is made up of 28, 20 perform or compete on the nationals mat. Our all-girl team is particularly competitive. A lot of them came to the University of Colorado to compete in cheerleading.
It's really exciting because this is my first year as a college cheerleader, and so going in from high school to college, it's really exciting to see the routines come together and the team come together.
I think this is a really difficult routine that we've gotten choreographed for us, but I think it's a really good challenge for the team.
Last year, the girls placed third at NCA and hope to achieve similar success this year heading into the competition.
It's really important that when we go out there on day one to hit everything, really get the crowd involved in our cheer, really show the judges that we love what we do and we love CU.
The cheerleaders have a long season of practice and preparation for nationals that spans over an entire school year.
So we start in August and initially start with just more of a game day focus, cheering football, cheering basketball, and then kind of progressively through the year start building their nationals routines.
For nationals, we have practice 3 times a week. And then we also have morning workouts, which either are in Dal Board or sometimes we have morning practices when it gets closer to nationals.
The Buffaloes are hoping to take home another trophy from NCA Nationals.
It helps a lot as an athlete to have, 19 other people out there working with me, and I think that's the strongest part of cheerleading is that we are just one big family.
But regardless of the pressure, they are excited to show what they have to put on the mat.
At nationals, I think we're going to put our heart out on the mat.
When we go out there, it's going to be a routine that shows how hard we've worked all year.
Go Buffs!
Sean Espinoza, CU Sports Mag.
Despite all the spirit, the cheerleading team failed to amaze at nationals. The cheer squad did not make the final round of the competition.
On a brighter note, CU Track and Field's Eileen Gehring hit the ground running in the Sun Angel Track Classic in Tempe, Arizona. Gehring took home a third-place finish and broke the school record in the 400-meter dash for the second time at CU with a time of 53.38 seconds. She came home with a sixth-place finish in the 200 as well, tying the second fastest school record. Another Buff that excelled this weekend was junior Emily Hunsucker, who dominated Saturday at Air Force Relays. This was her third victory of the season, throwing a mark of 192.7.
One Buff is currently standing on Division I's top 10 heptathlon list. At the Jim Click combined events meet last week, senior Brianne Beamer scored a personal best with over 5,300 points for the 10th best score in the NCAA. Despite making a new personal record, Beamer only placed 4th overall in the event. For the men, junior Brock Emery finished 6th in the decathlon. Emery recorded new bests in both the discus and javelin.
You could say CU Athletics are on the right track, academic track that is. 19 track and field athletes placed in the 2013 Mountain Pacific Federation All-Academic Team. Senior Nikki Look and sophomore Rachel Viger led the pack, each earning a 4.0 grade point average. Senior Matt Biegner recorded the best GPA for the men. To be recognized, the student athletes needed to have a cumulative GPA of 3.0 or higher, be at least a sophomore academically, have completed 1 year of classes at CU, and complete PEDed in at least 50% of the Buff season.
To satisfy your trivial pursuits, we'll have the answer to this week's trivia question.
And Alexis Perry returns to CU Sports Mag weather in an attempt to redeem herself with the forecast. Don't go away.
Let's sit down for a second, okay, sweetie?
Hey, Kayla, there's Mary from your class.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Kayla. Come and play.
Oh, sweetie, Why don't you go play with those kids over there?
Why?
Imagine the power of one voice. Find yours at freedomcenter.org.
The Wyoming Cowboy Classic doesn't sound like much of a golf tournament, but the Buffs made quite the showing. Colorado finished second in the tournament Tuesday to the Gonzaga Bulldogs. The Classic was shortened by high wind. The Buffs' Johnny Hayes led the way with a 1 under 69 Tuesday after an 85 in the first round. The 16-shot improvement was the second largest comeback for a golfer in school history. The Pac-12 Golf Championships take place in 3 weeks at the Los Angeles Country Club.
Well, if you knew this week's trivia answer without the help of a computer, I'm impressed. For those who don't know, the question was, when was the last time a player ran for over 150 yards in the CU-CSU game? The answer, Bobby Purify ran for 189 yards with 26 carries on September 4th, 2004, a performance this city hasn't seen since.
Boulder weather took a quick turn this week as record snow fell at the start. We're hoping for some clear skies, and I'm hoping you are too. Our weather magician Alexis Perry has this week's update.
Hey guys, I know the past week wasn't too great around the Boulder area. On Tuesday, a record 14.5 inches of snow fell, and while it brought in some much needed moisture, we haven't seen a lot of sun since, and the upcoming days won't be very different. Let's go ahead and check out the 4-day forecast here in Boulder. Today we had some mostly gloomy skies, but expect some rain showers coming in later in this evening. The temperature will drop to the low 30s, so if you're heading out tonight, don't forget those mittens. Saturday is the day you should be looking forward to most. We'll have a high of 68 degrees, and it's mostly sunny, so if you're heading out to Folsom Field for the spring football game, you'll definitely get your fair share of vitamin D. The game starts at 10:30 in the morning, so don't miss out. Sunday and Monday, the weather will definitely be making a change for the worst. Rain. We'll have a ton of rain in the area. We'll have a high of 48 degrees on Sunday and 40 on Monday. So break out those rain boots again. Sorry guys, it's not quite flip-flop season yet. Let's go ahead and check out the weather up in the high country. If you're planning on getting some runs in at Breckenridge this weekend, Saturday will be beautiful, mostly sunny with a high of 46 degrees. And Sunday we'll see rain and snow, meaning it could get a little icy out there, so be careful if you're on the slopes. We'll have a high of 37 degrees on Sunday. And lastly, if you're heading to the Rockies game, they're going to be back home taking on the Mets at the first half of the week. If you want to head out to Coors Field, I recommend you make the trip for the first game of the series on Monday. It'll be mostly sunny, but the temperatures will not break the low 40s, so be sure to bundle up. I have a feeling Coors Field is going to look a little bit like an Avs game Tuesday and Wednesday. Fans are probably going to take the option these 2 days because it's going to be so cold and wet out there. Rain will be turning into snow. We'll have a high of 40 on Tuesday and scattered snow showers of 48 with a high on Wednesday. So, Buff fans, stay warm and dry this next week. Get out there, support your football team, head out to the garage sale, and I suggest watching games 2 and 3 of the Mets-Rockies series from the warmth of your own home. I'm Alexis Perry. Hopefully I redeemed myself, Derek. Back to you guys at the desk.
Don't have too much fun in that high country, Alexis. That's all the time we have for this week's edition of Sports Mag.
Be sure to check us out at cusportsmag.com. See you next week.